project and its initiatives. But we will keep you that in the suspense mode because we will discuss that after lunch. So that's gonna be something that we're gonna talk about because our speakers need to leave really early. And we are pleased and honored to start our talks for this morning. For our first speaker, he's Dr. Mudjikiwis Dalisay Santos. You know, he's a very distinguished person. I personally know there is an island in Zamboanga named after him. A fish, am I correct, sir? Named after him. Because Doc Muji is a fishery scientist and a marine biologist widely recognized for his work in utilizing genetics, resource assessment, and policy studies to support fisheries management and aquaculture for food security, biodiversity conservation, and climate change adaptation in the country. He's the first National Scientist Level 5 award. This is the first National Scientist Level 5 awarded under the fisheries area. And he's currently with the National Fisheries Research and Development Institute and an academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology, or NAST Philippines, and a faculty of the Graduate School of the University of Santo Tomas, and an adjunct professor of the Central Luzon State University. He obtained his bachelor's in biology from UP Baguio, an MS in aquatic biosciences, and PhD in applied marine biosciences from Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology in Japan. He has authored and co-authored over 100 scientific articles, books, chapters, and other books. Is currently the editor-in-chief of the Philippine Journal of Fisheries, the section editor of the Philippine Agricultural Scientist, and an editor of the Fisheries Science, which is an official journal of the Japan Society for Fishery Science. He is a recipient also of the Award of Excellence in Socioeconomic Applications of DNA Barcoding of the International Development Research Center, Canada, and the prestigious Presidential Lingkod Bayan Award given by the Civil Service Commission and the Office of the President of the Philippines. He is into science communication via social media to promote his advocacy on fisheries and sustaining marine biodiversity conversation. And he's verified. Please follow him on Facebook, his account is Doc Muji. To make sure it is him, please check the account. It has 15,000 followers at present. In recognition of his contribution to the advancement of fishery science and management in the country, a marine fish has been named after him in 2015, Celi de Pelcoras santosi, by the two world's leading fish taxonomists in the world, Dr. Jeffrey Williams and Dr. Kent Carpenter. In the same year, an islet in Zamboanga City was named after him, Muji Ski Islet, by the people of Barangay Dita, Zamboanga City. Later, it was officially recognized by the city of Zamboanga and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources as the prime mover of sardine fishing closure in the peninsula, and not only benefited from that city, but the entire country as well. As such, he is known as Mr. Fisheries Research and the Fisher Folk Scientist. Ladies and gentlemen, my fraternity brother, Brad, Sir Muji, Doc Muji.
Thank you, Reg. Thank you. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good morning. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, really happy to be here. Thank you sa PCG, thank you sa GIZ, thank you sa UPCIDS, I guess, for the invitation. Been working with GIZ for the past couple of years, even before the pandemic. Pero first time kong magto-talk dito sa Philippine Coast Guard. No? So kaya po ako happy. Medyo inaasam-asam ko itong klaseng talk na to. Sabi nga ni Reg, no, UP Vanguard din po ako. I'm a graduate of UP ROTC. Noong 1992, graduate po ako na Deputy Corps Commander. So namimiss ko po yung pag-wear ng uniform na yan actually. But after graduation, I went into science. So right now, I'm a scientist. All right. Okay. Mudjikiwis. Meron po bang medyo nagtatanong, ano ba ang Mudjikiwis? Pwede ko bang ikwento muna, konti lang? Is that okay? Yeah. Mujikewis is a Native American Indian name po. Para siyang Pocahontas. Ano po? Yan. Pero pangalan lang po, no? Pangalan lang. Ako po ay purong Pilipino. Ang nanay ko po ay pinanganak at lumaki sa Tondo. So Tagalog po siya. At ang tatay ko po ay Afam. Teka lang, bakit Afam? Eh, sabi mo, purong Pilipino ka. Afam po, Afampangan. So ako po ay purong Kapampangan. Na Mujikewis, dahil mala Pocahontas po yan, meron po yung ibig sabihin. Ibig sabihin yan ay God of Winds. Iyon. Kaya nung banggitin ko po yan doon sa mga pasaway kong kasabay na scholar sa Japan, kaya sabi nila, kaya pala malakas ang arrive mo, sabi. Konti na lang, kaya pala mahangin ka. Siguro kalahati, kasi sabi nga nila, makakapampangan na medyo may konting hangin. Anyway, I'll be talking about the scientific cooperation that we did in the South China Sea and West Philippine Sea, particularly on the fisheries sector. Ano po? And I do hope, I'm sure, gaya nga ng nasabi ni Vice Admiral kanina, no? Your role in our maritime security is very, very important. Ano po? Alam niyo po ba kung gaano kalaki yung tubig natin, ng teritoryo natin, in terms of the water area? Alam niyo po ba kung ilan? Kasama ang Philippine rice is computed at around 80%. Ang Pilipinas po is about 80% water. No? Ganun po siya kalaki. And to us, to me, personally, nandyan po ang future natin sa ating karagatan. Kasi we're practically a water world. Kumbaga kung ako ang may say sa budget, kayo dapat ang may pinakamalaking budget sa lahat pagdating sa maritime conservation, etc., etc., especially sa fisheries. Ano po? So ganon. We're the 5th longest coastline in the world, and yet our fisher folks are the poorest of the poor. So meron pong malaking disconnect. Na-valuate na po, nagkaroon na po ng valuation ng ating marine resources. Alam niyo po ba kung magkakano ang valuation niya? It's almost $1 trillion per year potential benefit. Kaya lang sa ngayon, potential pa rin siya. No? Yun ang kailangan nating pagtuunan ng pansin, lalo na yung mga young people here. No? Yan po ang ating future. No? Yan po ang inyong future. No? Yung ating karagatan. Now, dito po sa kanan, ito po yung mapa na nakita ko through Wikipedia. Ito yung Administrative Order number 29. And I'm sure you're very familiar with this one. Ito po yung batas na nagpapangalan po ng West Philippine Sea ng Pilipinas. Ano po? And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a sort of a unilateral declaration ano po, ng West Philippine Sea. Kaya lang, kung babasahin po natin dyan, no, if we're going to look at that law, hindi klaro kung saan yung boundaries. Tama po ba? Am I correct? Parang hindi pa klaro. Now, nung lumabas po yung bagong Republic Act na 2, tama po? Natuwa ako, baka meron ng guhit yung West Philippine Sea. Apparently, yung ating mga kasamahan sa NAMRIA ay kailangan pa rin nilang iguhit. No? Next slide, please. Hello? Ayan. Okay, ito po yung RA 12064, yung Maritime Zones Act. Nabanggit dyan yung West Philippine Sea. Pero again, medyo description lang, kasama yung territorial seas daw ng Bajo de Masinloc, then yung KIG, ayan, no? Kasama daw po sa West Philippine Sea. No? And then, next slide, please. Okay na? Ayan. Doon naman sa RA 12065, nabanggit din naman yung West Philippine Sea. Pero yun nga, again, wala pa rin guhit. Bakit ko po isinimulan dito yung talk ko? Kasi nga po, ayaw. Ayan. Kasi nga po, we need to look at paano ba tinitignan yung kwento ng South China Sea at West Philippine Sea. And many people, the way we understand it, like this one, Inquirer.net, and even sa mga talks sa international forum, ang West Philippine Sea sa marami is actually yung part lang kung saan nag-extend westward yung ating EEZ. Right? That's how we treat it. But the rest is called the South China Sea. Okay? So I'm going to, binanggit ko to kasi medyo interchangeable yung pag-uusapan nating science na ginawa namin sa fisheries sa South China Sea. Right? Ayan. Okay, bakit natin pag-uusapan, why do we have to talk about the South China Sea fisheries? Alam niyo po ba kung gaano kahalaga ang South China Sea fisheries? Ano po? Yung kabuuan? 11 to 17 million metric tons of fish, about 12 to 22 billion fisheries value landed annually in that area. And this was published in 2016. About 3 million jobs ang nag-depend po sa South China Sea. Kaya lang, katakot-takot din ang problema niya. No? Of course, yung overfishing, biodiversity and habitat loss, altered ecosystem, and therefore, nagre-result ito ng pababa yung population ng isda dyan. Maraming isda dyan, kaya lang yung population niya pababa ng pababa. At pag tuluyang nawala ang mga isda dyan, ano po ang mangyayari? Maapektuhan po ba tayo? Definitely. No? We can have all the luxury in the world, lahat ng pera in the world, pero pag wala na po tayong makain, saan po tayo kukuha ng pagkain? Ganun po ka-importante yung food. Tama po ba? Now, in terms of patterns of global fishing fleets, this was published in 2018, talagang napaka-highly productive po ng fisheries. Remember in the 1950s, no? Ganyan pa lang po yung pattern ng fishing, but in the 2000, tingnan nyo, red na red yung South China Sea. That means talagang pinapakinabangan po yung South China Sea in terms of fisheries. Alright? Next slide, please. Ayan. Now, tinignan na rin ano may yung mga issues sa South China Sea, especially ng mga countries bordering this area, no? And dito pinapakita, and you can access this paper easily, for free. Nandyan po na-identify na yung mga insufficient capacity control, weak law enforcement. Now, again, patungkol po ito sa fishery, no? There's insufficient sources, low policy priority, insufficient gear regulations, weak intergovernmental cooperation, institutional weakness, habitat loss. So this means that medyo neglected yung fisheries in many aspects dun sa South China Sea. No? And alam naman natin yung mga dahilan yan, pero sana unti-unti tignan rin natin itong mga ito. Bakit? Kasi pag hindi po na-address itong mga common issues na to, tuluyan pong babagsak yung population ng isda sa South China Sea. Alright? Next slide, please. Now, SCS, yung South China Sea po, connected yan. Hindi po talaga siya parang Pilipinas lang, Indonesia lang. There are a lot of studies showing this on. One, for example, itong tinatawag nating larval dispersal. Yung mga itlog at mga babies nila, ano yan, tinataboy yan ng kuryente sa dagat. At kung mapapansin nyo, umiikot yung mga yan dito sa buong South China Sea. So, transboundary yung pag-ikot ng mga itlog ng mga isda. Ano po? Okay po? So, pag hindi pinrotektahan yan ng lahat ng countries dyan, ano pong mangyayari? Problema na naman sa ating population. Pagdating, even when you look at the DNA profile, yung DNA profile po ng mga isda, dyan sa South China Sea na nagnaland sa Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, and China, halos pare-pareho po ang kanilang DNA profile. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Malapit po silang magkakamag-anak. So talagang connected po yung fish dito sa South China Sea. And nababanggit na rin po na because of these issues and connectedness, we do need to have some common objectives na kailangan nating i-address. No? One would be, of course, kailangan nating achieve yung food security and economic development because it's a very productive area, but it faces a lot of threats, and there are already signs of decline in the natural resources there or the fisheries resources there. And so we need to ensure yung sustainable fishery and even protect the marine environment. Okay? Because these things, no, is needed, and it's different from the other sort of issues na nangyayari sa South China Sea. And so therefore, preventing fishing conflicts and disputes is very important. It's also a common objective sa ating lahat. And I'm sure lahat tayo naman ina-aspire ito. No? Kaya lang talagang medyo challenging. That's why in this presentation, what we did is we tried to look at science as a way to have dialogue and produce something jointly. And yun po yung ikakwento ko maya-maya. Now, pagdating naman sa West Philippine Sea, alam natin yung demarcation ng West Philippine Sea kanina, no? This was published by Arceo et al. In 2020. No? Tinignan nila inassess nila yung tatlong islands dyan, no? Scarborough, Pag-asa, and the other one, hindi ko na makita. Nakita nila na-record na yan, na-publish na ang marami sa mga isda na nahuhuli dyan, sa mga reefs na yan ay mga labahita, papakol, maya-maya, tuna, tulingan. So maraming mga commercially important species. And kinompute nila yung annual yield dyan for the 3 reefs is about 1,000 to almost 3,000 metric tons per year. And roughly, it's estimated to have a potential annual yield for the KIG reefs, no? Kalayaan Island Group, of about 61,000 to 90,000 metric tons per year, or about 3 to 5% ng total marine capture fisheries in the Philippines. So yung sabihin, it's really very rich, no? Even though na medyo na may signs na ng decline, very rich pa rin at yung potential niya ay malaki. Kailangan lang talaga nating proteksyonan, no? I-regulate para sa kapakanan po ng ating lahat, no? In terms of food security or seafood security. Yun nga, maraming potential pero marami ring challenges. We do have this what we call National Stock Assessment Program. We have this nationwide data where we do monitor 900 fish landing sites all over the country. And dito sa western side, Region 1, 3, and 4B, alam natin more or less anong mga boats ang nanguhuli dyan, anong mga klaseng isda. No? Interestingly, yung nasa norte sa Region 1, ibang-iba yung nature ng huli ng mga isda doon na binabagsak kesa nasa Region 3 at Region 4B. Ganon ka-diverse yung Pilipinas. Yung norte iba, dito sa south iba. Okay? Unfortunately, marami sa mga fisheries nito is on the red. Anong ibig sabihin to? Mga indicator yan na medyo lumampas na tayo dun sa threshold kung saan sustainable yung fishing. No? Alright. Ang gusto natin, maging green uli yan. No? Now, I don't know if you've heard about this one. Pagdating sa fisheries, under Fisheries Administrative Order 263, Series of 2019, hinati-hati na po ang Pilipinas into 12 fisheries management areas. And this is governed by what we call Management Board, and meron siyang kaukulang Science Advisory Group. That's how we looked at fisheries management right now by way of FMAs. No? At dito sa western side, sakop siya ng FMA 6 at FMA 5. No? So marami sa mga, again, research, policy, regulation, in terms of governance, dito na po kumakahon sa fisheries management areas. No? Okay. Now, ito po yung binabanggit kong example of an SCS scientific cooperation which we started at roughly around 2017, 2018, no? With the help of the Center for Humanitarian Dialogue. It involved 5 countries, our country, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and China. The idea is, tignan natin kung pwedeng yung science at yung mga scientists can jointly work together, no? And see how we can produce something for the South China Sea fisheries. At the same time, provide that dialogue where kahit paano nag-uusap at a level na talagang medyo joint talaga yung cooperation, no? By using science. Okay. Out of this work, we coined this term, what we call Common Fisheries Resource Analysis, or CIFRA, where kasama actually yung experts and policymakers designed a voluntary scientific collaboration that utilized the analysis and expertise of all 5 participating countries. Okay? So, kailangan mag-build ng consensus for cooperation, and then we look at what kind of scientific analysis do we do for the shared fish stock, yung connected na fish, and also design a methodology and jointly magkaroon ng scientific analysis and eventually publish a joint scientific work. No? We did focus on the first SIFRA, yung skipjack tuna. Katsuonus pilamis, yung scientific name. Ito po yung kawakawa. Alam niyo po ito? Pag nag-iikot po ba kayo dyan sa dagat, nangangawil po ba kayo? Ito yung may stripe sa gilid, skipjack tuna. It's a very important fish. It's one of the 3 big tunas natin. Ano? At itong species na to, as a trivia, alam niyo po ba kung para saan siya main? At marami pong nahuhuli nito lalo na sa part ng Pacific Ocean. Ito po yung species ng tuna na nakikita nyo sa lata. Yung skipjack tuna. Okay? Yung yellowfin, hindi po yung dinidilata. Ano po? Yung big eye, hindi rin dinidilata. Yun po naman, para saan yun? Yun yung ginagawang sashimi. Yun yung ina-export natin for sashimi. Yung skipjack po, no, hindi ganong masarap sashimi to. Ito naman yung nasa century tuna na nilalagay natin, yung skipjack species. So interesting, no? Ay ganun ba? Hindi ba lahat ng tuna dinidilata? Hindi po. Yung tulingan, yun naman yung mga tuna din yon, pero hindi na po lumalaki yon. Ganito lang kalalaki, madaliit lang. No? Yan naman yung usually nasa local market. Ginagawa nyong sinaing, yan, lagyan nyo ang gata. Yan. Opo. Again, yung skipjack, ito yung one of the 3 big tunas, commercially important because ito yung kinukuha ng marami for the canning industry. Interesting, ano? Now, ang ginawa namin, tinignan namin yung tinatawag na spawning potential ratio. Ano ba ito? As a performance indicator. Kasi kung titignan nyo yung population ng isang isda or any population kahit ng tuna, titignan nyo yung tinatawag na indicator. Kung okay pa ba siya or hindi na. Tama po ba? No. In this case, ito yung tinatawag na SPR. Kung saan, ang gusto natin, no, ay 20% or less ay wag mangyari. No? Gusto natin 0.3, 0.4. Ano ba itong 0.20% na to? Ito yung measure kung saan yung kapasidad ng population ay makakapanganak pa ng maayos. Okay? Ang gusto natin, 30-40% yung kanyang capacity to reproduce, yung existing population. Alright? Pag 20% or less, ayaw na natin yon. Ibig sabihin, kulang na. Parang tao. Ang tao po yung replacement niya, 2 anak per couple. Parang ganito po yan. Pag 2 anak per couple, ang magiging population trend natin, stable. Pag less than 2, ano mangyayari? Population decline, eventually wala nang Pilipinong mabubuhay sa mundo. Pag tumaas naman ng 2 per couple, pag tumaas sa 2 per couple, population explosion. No? Sa isda, gusto natin population explosion. para mas marami tayong mahuli. Tama po ba? Sa mga tao, pwede na yung stable. 2 na lang. Mahirap din yung negative. No? Problema din yon. Okay. Anong tinignan namin? What we did see? We used 302,000 data points. Ito yung mga measurement ng mga isda. Yun po yung basis ng measure. Ano po? And kinuha yan sa 24 survey sites. Ito po yung mga survey sites makikita nyo. That means, nag-contribute po ng datos lahat ng 5 countries na yun, including China. No? Nung length frequency data ng mga skipjack tuna na tinignan. Alright? So that alone was a breakthrough kasi nga first time na nangyari ito na nagko-contribute lahat. And inanalyze po yan. And bawat countries actually, no, compute ng sarili-sarili and also we did some joint computation. And just quickly, medyo maraming numbers ito. Ang pinapakita lang nito is that yung malalaking isda, medyo okay pa. Pero there were really signs of overfishing ng mga juveniles. So yung conclusion, nangyari doon sa study is that there was very evident overfishing of juvenile skipjack. So ang daming kinukuhang mga babies. ng mga maliliit, which can lead to overfishing and therefore overfished state. No? Yung adults present, there were evidence that our stocks are under fishing pressure, pero kahit papaano sustainable limits. No? And so therefore, kailangan ng regional approach to monitoring these risks. So what happened is that this data, jointly, inanalyze po namin ng mga scientists ng mga countries dun sa scientists from those 5 countries, and then we were successful in publishing a scientific paper out of it sa marine policy. And then hindi kami tumigil doon, we converted it into a policy paper para kanino? Kasi gusto natin hindi lang scientists yung makaintindi, but even most importantly, the policy makers and the public. Kaya gumawa rin kami ng infographics. No? And di rin kami tumigil dyan. In fact, we launched the first CIFRA analysis in Diamond Hotel in Manila in 2022. I don't know kung may naka-attend po sa inyo noon. No less than the National Security Agency Secretary at that time, si Clarita Carlos, ang nagbigay ng keynote speech. And it was highly sort of received by a lot of media outlets, even sa international, like the Straits Times and SCMP, ay na-feature po. And one of the things that were really looked at that is that, yun nga, it's a very good work in terms of collaboration, the science thing in the South China Sea, and it is very possible. And there were a lot of good outcomes out of it. Now, the CIFRA experience told us that we need to continue collaborative research to continue the dialogue. Kaya nga, right now, we're thinking about creating what we call a fishery science working group. No? We're continuing the SPR analysis, this time for Eastern Little Tuna, yung kawakawa nga, and squid. And then, because of the uncertainty of extent of fish stocks in the area, we need to do more connectivity and traceability studies, right? So, a lot of things have been done in terms of science, pero kailangan pa nating i-push into better understanding what's happening in the fishery stocks there. And then, we did present this to various fora, and this time here in the Philippine Coast Guard Forum, so which we are happy to share. Ano po. And last slide. So ano ang sinabi sa atin ito? Ano ang kwento nito? Itong experience na to. Scientific cooperation in the SCS fisheries that produces results is very doable because we did it. No? Kaya. Meron. In fact, kung meron ditong gustong mag-science at ano ba yun, sir? Mag-masters or mag-PhD ng fisheries, scientific thesis nyo, ang thesis nyo, pwede po akong co-advisor or advisor. I do advise a lot of masters and PhD also in different topics. But yeah, so ang next naming actually challenge is how to continue and institutionalize the scientific cooperation, and then who takes the lead. Another challenge we have is how to translate the scientific results to policy and institutionalize governance. Again, who takes the lead? No? That's one of our problems. Because we are supported right now by an international NGO, we are moving forward, but we need to think about how we're going to make this to continue even without that kind of support. All of us in the region doing this on our own. So that's the big challenge right now. We're looking at the different modalities. We've even talked about this at UPC-IDS, dun sa Marites Forum. There were talks about the ASEAN sort of framework, RF Regional Fisheries Management Framework, etc., etc. I am personally looking for an international society where it would be a private or organization of some sort, private society.
Because, it's very hard to get Doc Mochi. To be honest, gagapang po kayo sa pila niyan. You will have to really line up to get his schedule. And he has to leave for another appointment at BFAR, so he will not be joining the panel. So we will open this floor for a couple of questions before he runs to his BFAR engagement. Yes, Doc Butch.
Doc, kanina I saw the map wherein yung spawning ng karamihan ng mga isda natin ay really nasa West Philippine Sea. Yung parang may map na may parang yellow, red, orange, no? So my question really is, given the 5 countries na scientific group, no? Sila yan, no? Ano ang pwedeng maging role ng Philippines sa pag-preserve ng habitat given na yung spawning is really in our area and the harvesting and the fishing is syempre is all over, no? So nasa atin yung pag-preserve noon at pagpapadami ng ating mga isda. So according to your discussions, ano ang role natin?
Well, malaki sir, malaki. Looking at the big picture, baka hindi nyo pa po alam, the Philippines is the center of marine biodiversity in the world. Tayo po ang may pinakamaraming klase ng marine organisms per square area in the world. So anong ibig sabihin nun? Meron po tayong inherent responsibility sa humanity to preserve that, to protect that. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, kung ako masusunod, bibigyan ko kayo malaking budget eh. Kasi nakasalalay po sa inyo yung protection ng Center of Marine Biodiversity in the world. Kayo po yun. Now, patungkol dun sa tinatanong ni Sir Butch, it's the same. Those islands, no, na nasa West Philippine Sea na nasa atin are proven to be really spawning grounds. And very rich din siya in marine organisms, following yung Center of Marine Biodiversity in the world. And unfortunately, actually, ito, sa totoo lang, yung aming mga researchers sumama sa DABFAR 2-3 years ago. Tatlong punta kami doon. Ang sabi nila sa akin, medyo nakakalungkot kasi actually marami sa mga reefs doon medyo bugbog sarado. Bugbog sarado. No? Ang nakita lang nilang medyo okay pa yung Sabina Shoal yata. Pero yon medyo hindi ko alam kung ano nang status ngayon. That was like last year. So, ano pong ibig sabihin nun? The areas are there. It is a spawning ground. It is rich with marine biodiversity. Pero yun nga, mukhang samot-saring dahilan, pero hindi na siya in a good state. So, kailangan nating ayusin yung mga nasa atin. And kung po pwede nga po na i-lead ng Philippines in terms of looking at the fisheries aspect of this thing, not sure paano makatulong din ang Coast Guard at that level, ay napaka-importante po because yung isda knows no boundaries, wala pong boundary yung mga isda. At patuloy po silang nade-decimate. So malaking problema po yan pagdating ng araw.
Thank you, sir. Anyone from the different agencies, also whether from the Coast Guard or the other agencies? Anyone? Any questions po? Yes, recognizing the arrival of Undersecretary Jesus Gary Domingo, Undersecretary for Civilian Security and Consular Affairs of the Department of Foreign Affairs. You will.
Sige, sir.
Sige, sir.
Sure.
I'm just interested, no. I'm looking at it from a biological human perspective kasi medical doctor ako. Yung isda, like especially yung tuna, in a lifetime niya, ilang beses siya nag-reproduce at kasi na-mention mo kanina, na overfish na yung juvenile. So nauubos na yung mga potential maging adult, pero yung adult okay pa. So, gaano katagal sila?
Dugtong. Depende po sa species, sir. Depende po sa species. Usually, itong mga pelagic species, kung tawagin, sir, mga like yung mga tunas and even mga sardinas, mga galonggong na nabubuhay dun sa laot, marami pong mangitlog yan. Like in 100,000. No? Unfortunately, sobrang dami lang ng fishing pressure, kaya na-overpower yung reproductive ability nila such that dahil mas marami yung fishing pressure, yung threat, even pollution for example, paunti na ng paunti over time. Ngayon, ang tanong, makakapag-recover ba sila? Oo. Opo, resilient po yung ating mga isda, especially sa Pilipinas. We've seen that maka-bounce back yan. Yung closure natin sa Zamboanga ng sardinas, in about 2 to 3 years closure, we've seen a rebound nung population. So, kaya sir. No? Iba-iba yung kanyang lifespan, iba't iba yung kanilang reproductive ability. Pero in general, yung mga nasa laot po, madaling bumalik yan. Kailangan lang ibalik. Now, ang problem, nagda-decline yan. Pag na-arrest natin yan, sir, at naprotektahan, for example, babalik. Pero may point dyan na pag umabot na tayo sa threshold at konting-konti na yung remaining nanay at mga babies, ang tawag po doon collapse. At mind you, magko-collapse yan pag hindi po tayo gumawa ng any intervention. At yun po yung kinakatakot natin. Pag nag-collapse yan, asahan nyo, hindi na babalik yan kahit nagustuhin pa natin. At that point, it's too late. So, yun po. Now, we think it's still possible if we're going to regulate it na kaya pang bumalik sa better population state. Pero if we're not going to do anything about its management, kasi nga ang dami nating issues, iba-iba yung issues, syempre, naintindihan ko yon. Pero meron pong darating sa punto. At mind you, meron ng mga nag-collapse na fishery sa ibang bansa. Meron na. Documented po yun. Hindi po yun up for debate. Meron na pong fishery na nag-collapse at hindi na po nakabalik. So,
Doc, good morning. Robert Chwidian po sa Presidential Office for Maritime Concerns. Para kasing nabuhayan po ako dun sa nabanggit nyo kanina na sa unang pagkakataon, nakipagtulungan po yung kapitbahay natin na
Apo.
gumagambala sa atin dun sa... Now, I'm more interested kasi on finding a common ground where we can share things.
Yeah.
And I attended a forum earlier this year, sir. The coral features, I think in Sandy Cay, parang durug-durug na siya.
yes.
And although sabi nung nagprepresent, hindi nila tukoy na yung kapitbahay natin ang
Of
gumawa.
course.
Ngunit
Yes.
yung kanya puro formation, dahil yung kanyang pagkakumpul-kumpul, it's evidence of human activity.
Yes.
Opo. So my question po, just one last point of context for my question, sir. Given that our neighbor has been talagang grabe yung kanilang militarization island building doon sa area. Yun po bang nakausap niyo mga scientists rin? What was their perspective on the destruction of the coral reefs because of human activity in the area, sir?
We didn't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
What we talked about is the fish. We talked about
But the coral
fisheries.
reefs, sir, would be connected to the spawning of the fish,
Well,
right?
yes, pero yung focus po ng cooperation and science is about the fish that's roaming around the South China Sea. Kasi masyado pong malaki yan in terms of the scientific question po, ano? You can talk about the coral reef, you can talk about marine pollution, you can talk about many stuff. In this case po, we talked about the skipjack, which is common to all, and it's very important commercially, and it's shared. So yun po yung tinignan. But tignan po natin in the future, no? Kaya nga po ang challenge, how do we continue this dialogue so that scientists can in the future talk about the coral reefs naman. Mag-joint analysis ng coral reefs, joint analysis ng mga giant clams, joint analysis nung pollution dyan. Yun po yung hindi pa nangyayari. We just started with the fish that's sort of there. Opo. So, kaya po kami, scientists, we want to continue nga yung dialogue po na to. Yun lang ang challenge. Paano natin ko continue, especially pag pull out na yung Center of Humanitarian Dialogue, how do we now make that platform. We're trying to do the governmental side of things. Looks a bit very tricky in terms of doing that part. So siguro yung isa sa mga discussion nyo forward, how you're going to continue that discussion, that dialogue po. In different levels, in different ways. Basta sa akin, importante po magtuloy yung
Yes.
dialogue.
Yeah. To clarify that, we will have that discussion in the panel, but because Doc Muji has maybe one last, or is that the last question, sir? One more. If there is anyone from particularly Coast Guard.
Yung mga young kids dito,
Opo.
gusto ko marinig yung ano nila, iniisip.
Um,
Somebody wants to do a thesis on fish sa South China Sea. May nagma-masters ba dito? Nagpi-PhD? Kung wala pang nagma-masters, PhD, mag-masters and PhD kayo, please.
Yes, sir.
No, nandito kami. Tulungan namin kayo.
Yes. I think there would be a lot of discussions on this because right now, we are now bridging, as you said, sir, the intersection between science, academic research, and policy. Because there's always a gap, and we hope that we will be able to find a way to bridge that particular
Yeah,
gap.
my engagement right after this one, I'm going to teach BFAR people on policy brief development.
Yes, sir.
So, science and policy.
Yes. So there are different agencies, sir. Siguro, sir, Sir Munyali, sir, I will,
Merong
because you have to leave, sir. So,
sige.
yeah. So at this point, sir, in behalf of our team,
One
and,
woman army itong si Reg.
I'm sorry, sir, we are short-handed because some of the people who are here, again, no excuses, are sick only today. So we're all now. Yes, sir. Sir, fleet daw kasi Coast Guard. Okay, so thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Muji. If you have more questions, please do follow him on Facebook. He
Yeah,
is
reach out lang
receptive.
po. Reach out lang po.
dum-
We have lots of expertise institute in terms of fisheries, aquaculture, post-harvest, capture fisheries, policy development. Dito lang po kami para mag-support sa inyo.
Yes
Just reach out po. Reach out.
Yes po. Yeah, thank you. Let's give a hand to Doc Muji. So in behalf of the GIZ team, support to the Philippine Coast Guard in
Thank you.
ensuring the rules-based international order in the Indo-Pacific. Sir, it's so
Thank
hard
you.
to take a picture, but maybe we can ask the photographer, parang kasal lang po, no? Paki-picture po sa ganong side, can I ask the photographer to
Bababa na
that
lang ako.
side, and then he will take a picture to that side.
Alright.
While, sir.
Thank you, Reg
Medyo
ulit.
complicated yung layout, sir.